Sure. She had a good time.
I think I'm recording.
Yeah. Start in a minute.
Yeah. That's what that means, right?
Oh, yes, count. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
No, it really went extremely smoothly. Except the last
I
day
got a
we had
question to ask
baby
you
parents
after.
didn't pick it up.
Okay.
Orders off.
I don't know what happened to that. Angie, when did that parent pick up that child? The last day of Safety City? Oh, there's a story coming.
No, it was probably like 1 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours later. Yeah.
At least the kid got a good
Just
lunch.
a kid.
Yeah, we fed him lunch and he was happy. And
Yeah. Did you have to bring him here, or did you? the
we
dad
stayed
came
there.
Was he only hiccup?
Well, it was kind of a strange thing because Mama usually did it, but Mama went out of town on business and
We should remember for next
Daddy,
year, if there's something on your mind,
Daddy was supposed to do
make sure we
it,
buy this beforehand.
and Daddy
Make sure
forgot
that parents-
because it wasn't in his normal routine. And
Unless you, I thought I would do that.
hey,
We got plenty. Okay, the meeting of the Public Safety Education Committee is now convened. Okay. Just a note, I'd like to adopt a new agenda to add the BMA report to the agenda for today. No problems with that? Okay, so adopt. We have a quorum. So the first thing on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from April. Did everybody have a chance to read those?
Yes.
Any corrections to the minutes? Amendments? Okay.
The May meeting?
Huh?
The May meeting or the April meeting?
It's the April meeting. Remember that short meeting we had, Public Safety Education?
no, that was in June.
Was that in June? I'm sorry.
June.
June.
I'm sorry, I've got it listed.
Yeah.
The June minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Minutes are so adopted and approved. Next is the police report. And I know a lot of us, I think everybody got the email from Lieutenant McGee about the reports. So, Angie, do you have anything else?
Yeah, the only thing that was not included in that report is the stats from over the weekend, because they typically do those on Monday and they don't come in until Monday afternoon. And Lieutenant Simpson, who normally does that, we called this morning to see if we could get those stats, and he was out. So somebody else had to do them for the weekend, and so we didn't get them until late this afternoon. So if anybody wants to see what was there over the weekend, I can pass this around. We are going to send out a corrected copy with it all inclusive to include these, but if anybody wants to look at it for the weekend, I do have it. Yeah, we can pass it around.
Just quickly, and see if anything happened in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Your name's on it?
Yeah, see if your name's on it. So that's the only thing that I would say to watch for, is that since we have those, Lieutenant McGee will be updating it and sending out a new copy probably tomorrow. The only other thing is Safety City went really well, as we were just talking about. Next year, I think we need to do some more purchasing. We need to replace 4 more bikes and 4 more helmets, the bikes that was not really good this year. We bought 3 new and 3 new helmets, and then we had 4 that went down, so we'll probably need to replace those next year. Also, we need to work on Safety City itself, the city itself, and really the buildings need working on, the layout, the format, the whole thing needs to be kind of like overhauled, and look at that. So we'll be looking at that earlier in the year than we normally do, simply because it takes some time to build those things, and finding someone to help us construct it and paint and do all that stuff is kind of very time consuming and arduous. The main thing that I could say about Safety City this year, we had plenty of volunteers because the schools had the preschool kindergarten kid camp or whatever. We lost a lot of our audience that we normally would have had there. So our numbers were down. We had about 76 or 74 kids that we ended up with, and the kids this year were great. I mean, they were so calm.
I know.
For 5- and 6-year-olds, we were amazed. I kept thinking, it's so quiet out here in the halls. What is going on? Because usually it's just mass chaos and noise and when they're changing classes. But this year they were all really well behaved and well. They used their inside voices, and
I managed 2 groups, and they were really great.
yeah, they really were. I mean, I was very proud of them, and got nothing but positive feedback from parents and the teachers that came to teach and all of that. So I think it went very well.
I wonder if we're getting children who've already been to preschool now, as opposed to maybe in the past they had not been to preschool and this was just kind of a,
You know, I don't know, because we do market to preschool. We do take out stuff to them and give it to them early on to get signed up. So that may very well be. I would have to go back and specifically look at where each application came from, but we do market to them. So that's a possibility. So, yeah.
May I follow up on that? Thank all of you for your participation. I mean, it was really great to have all of you there, and on Sunday to put things together. We got that done, I think, in rapid time, too. And a lot of it had to do with, I think we had closed up some of my end of things the year before better than we have in the past. So it went well. I think we're going to talk about a different type of badge for them for next year, as opposed to the pin with the large name on it, talking about something with a lanyard that they will leave as they go home, but we will still have to do something for the parents for the car. But I agree. I think the children did well, and the student volunteers we had really did a great job this year. There was no horseplay. They just seemed to be having a good time, but with the children and guiding them.
Yeah, and we had quite a few that returned this year, the volunteers, and so they kind of mentored the other ones and that were new, and so it kind of worked out pretty well. So I was pleased with the overall the way it went. And Dogwood, of course, was very gracious to us and helped us with everything that we needed.
Benji, you were with a group.
Yes,
what did you think?
I had read it. They were really great. All the kids were really wonderful. You know, parents were happy too, because I was able to talk to parents and get their feedback. They were really happy, and they said, "Oh, we're going to tell our friends. You're ready for the next year." So
yeah, and we did change a few things the last day. Instead of having one mass graduation, we had them in their groups and in classrooms so that the parents could participate a little bit more, get pictures, because that's one of the complaints that I got, was it's such chaos and there's so many people, we can't really get pictures of our child getting their certificate and all of that. So we kind of tried something different, and it seemed like it worked a whole lot better.
Did you already communicate it with the parents that, you know, this is how we're going to do? Because I didn't see a lot of parents, or maybe, you know, they were busy.
Yeah, there was quite a few parents there for the different groups. I mean, we saw quite a few come in and do the whole certificate thing with their kid and the pictures and all that, and they seem to really like it. So.
And where are the pictures? I mean, just there were a lot of, I know, pictures were taken. Is there a link or?
I think Ed has a lot of those compiled. I'll have to ask him about them. Yeah.
And another thing was for the volunteer hours, the certificates, because my son was there. He was asking me, "What is my certificate?" I said, "I'm going to follow up and let you know."
I think the communication needs to be a little bit better with the parents too for that. Some of that the last day.
Yeah. The certificates, Ed was working on those last week, and so they should have gone out. But you might give him a call and ask him specifically about your son.
Okay, I'll check with him. I'll email him.
But I know he was working on those letters last week that went out, so I'm not sure.
Can I ask a couple of questions? I've heard you three, and you all, first of all, did a fantastic job running things. And it occurred to me that we should probably capture some of the things that we learned this year for our formal minutes, so that next year we can go back and look and say, oh, that's right, we need to do this, that, and the other. So I heard you say we probably should look at 4 new bikes.
4 new bikes.
4 new bikes, 4 helmets.
And you also said that we need to have at least one work day organized within our commission ahead of time. I wonder if you think it should be, I mean, should it be 2 Saturdays, one per month ahead of time, just whatever you think is necessary for us to do the work, kind of like we used to do with that float. Like get
Right.
together and have a work day to prepare for it.
To do the buildings, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I would also, my wife had the opportunity to be volunteered by me
Yeah.
just a little bit.
She did great.
She did.
She mentioned, and she probably would have only noticed this because of the difference that happened. On one day, the student volunteers escorted the kids out to their cars, and so they had positive control of the child, delivered them to the parents, which worked just fine. On a different day, for no particular reason, one of the other volunteers grabbed a clipboard and wanted to check the children out one by one, which is fine. It's a great measure for positive control, but my wife said it was very obvious that you had this huge logjam of kids and frustrated parents in the drive, whereas on the other day, the kids were just as secure and they had accountability. So that might be kind of a procedure for next year to make it
That's
easy
good
for
to
the
know.
parents to get in and
I
out.
never had a chance to go out. That's good to know.
Right.
Okay, drop off and pick up.
You know, just whatever our procedure we think
Procedure.
are you know, the most safe and secure, but also efficient for the kids.
I'll say procedure review.
Yeah, and I can't
Somebody
think
tried to
from
organize
our
this.
limited participation, what do you think? Any other after action stuff?
No, just follow-up questions, talking about your 2 workday idea.
Or even one. I mean,
One
one's
or
good.
one, just a workday, 4 or 5 workdays. When you mentioned the building needs some additional work, some repair and painting, so it's just we have the printed on poster boards, right, for the building signs. When we say repair, do you mean like the stands that hold up the buildings?
Well, when you build a building, the stand has to be built as well.
Yeah.
And the stand is kind of depending on what size the building is. But we need to add some additional buildings and some additional signage and we just need to kind of beef it up a little bit. Yeah, just do a little bit better job with making our city a little more, looks like a little busier city.
It'd be nice if we could name the buildings, too. And we do need to get the information for the T-shirts sooner.
Yes, we do.
That was a bit of a fiasco.
Yeah, the T-shirts need to come in
We
sooner.
didn't have all of the, maybe I shouldn't say this on tape, but we did not have all of the sponsors on the T-shirts because we didn't too late.
Well, the sponsors, we should have more robust sponsorship hopefully in the future.
That would be nice, too.
It's
Yeah.
certainly obvious that but besides Drug Take Back Day, this is our most visible event where we really engage with the community. And I will say, as the parent of a daughter who has children coming up to that, you know, the scuttlebutt among that age group moms is, oh yeah, Safety City is a big one. So all the Germantown moms like to get in on that one, so I want to make it special for them.
Yeah, and the sponsorships were down this year as far as the number of people that we had and also the amount of money that we had. So, yeah, next year we need to make probably a more concerted effort push for that.
Question from the chair. Was it effective to have a subcommittee made up of 2 members from this committee to handle this?
They didn't use us.
Yeah,
use
they
it all?
didn't use it. Yeah, I mean,
Not until the very
I kept
last
emailing.
couple of days, you know. Yes, it would be very helpful, I think, to the police department.
Exactly.
To have a subcommittee.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're supposed to be setting up, Ed is, I think after the 4th, a meeting with the 2 chairs and with us and start kind of breaking down the process that we go through and delineating who's going to do what and that kind of thing. Because there's certain things that we have to do that's kind of like city rules we have to follow through. But there are other things that y'all can do. And this year, one reason why we didn't end up using y'all is we had officers who were on light duty, and we put them to work. And so we utilized them quite a bit in running errands and buying things and purchasing things, and we would give them a list and say, here's where you go. And so we had some that were on light duty that we were able to use. So, and
Well, I know we
no
can't
guarantee
do-
we'll have that next year.
No, we can't do the purchasing because of,
Right. Well, I mean, you can with one of us with you.
oh, with you.
Yeah. So, so this year we had a little bit different situation that we don't always get to
I
take
hope we don't
advantage
have
of. Because they went out to all the daycares and to all the schools and did all that legwork that we would have probably been asking y'all to do. So, anything else that anybody wants to bring up about Safety City?
What about having a flyer that we can just put it up, the library and thing?
We do that.
Oh, you do that? Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that the officers did this year. They took it to the library, they took it over to the center, they took it over to City Hall. I was trying to remember all the places they put it out, but we have a list that we go and put it out at.
Did you go into Germantown
Library.
Athletic Club also?
Huh?
Germantown Athletic Club.
Athletic club, yeah.
Yep, in the library. So we have several places that we put it up besides just the schools. We take it to all the kindergarten classes at all the schools too before the school lets out. We send it to each kindergarten class. We find out how many kids they have, and then we send them that many applications, and they go home with the kids. So, and y'all didn't get to do that this year because I had somebody else doing it. So, consider yourself kind of lucky about that, I guess. So. All right, anything else as far as Safety City goes?
Not as far as Safety City, but I have a suggestion for the police. Since we're public safety education, I'm sure you all read the police report. So many robberies and unlocked vehicles. Can we go on, maybe we could borrow a campaign that somebody else has, lock it and leave it or something, and just kind of spread the word.
Well, and we have put that out on social media so many times. We did it again this week, and asking people to please lock your doors, don't leave anything of value, don't put key fobs in the car and leave them, and people will still do it. And I'm kind of like you. I don't know what else we can do. We go and try to talk to homeowner associations and try to get them to put the word out. If y'all have any suggestions, we certainly would love the help to get the word out. So, because the majority, if you look at our reports, the majority of them are unlocked cars.
And doors.
And doors. So,
I first got started in law enforcement in 1967. It was bad then. It still is 51 years later. People not going, they just... Reality is, if it doesn't happen to me, it's not real, And that's pretty much the attitude that they have.
I think we become complacent, too. We live in Germantown. Nothing happens out
Yeah, that's what my daughter
That's
said.
it.
yeah.
I tell her all the time, we are in Germantown. I said, lock your car, because my neighbor's car was,
Yeah.
they just break
We
the
hear
door.
that a lot too. But this is Germantown.
Yeah, it's Germantown.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe that's a good point, is that it feels a little disconnected from reality, like it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't exist. So I'm not sure what education campaigns the department has today, but maybe like talking up like what the #1 crime is, like that's, that this is the biggest, like tackling it from that aspect of not, you should do it because it's the right thing to do, because, but more like this is the kind of crime that happens more often than the crime in the city of Germantown is because we're not locking our quarters.
Well, most of our crimes out here are personal crimes, personal property type stuff, and they're also crimes of opportunity. They're not violent crimes. They're crimes that are it's just there, and it's an opportunity for somebody who wants to take that opportunity to take something, whether it be from your garage, from your car, from something you left over at the center when you're working out that you left out. I mean, most of our crimes are just crimes of opportunity.
So a few of the seat checks, maybe we can start adding like one of the volunteers from this committee to sit and specifically say, like quiz, like the most common type of crime in the city of Germantown, give away pen, cup to make them bad or something.
Well, and that could be something that you might think about as a committee for the upcoming festival.
Festival, right.
Yeah, exactly.
How about the festival and the seat check? That's our next two opportunities where we're actually talking to people and just make that be the thing that we make sure we're pushing. I think last year it was fire alarms every 6 months. No, is that it?
Yeah, every 6 months. I'll
Yeah.
take my chair out. That's why I wanted this crime report to identify things and get things ready for the festival coming up. So,
Well, and regarding the crime report, I mean, it's kind of neat from a personal basis to see something happening in my neighborhood, but really as far as the group is concerned, that, again, to me, knowing this happened on this day is not that important, or knowing, but being able to categorize it. We had 87 unlocked cars. We had 32, unlocked houses, or having more of a summary level. From a personal perspective, I don't like rating to see if it's my neighborhood or not. Okay? But from a committee perspective, the fact it happened on Tuesday as opposed to Friday, I'm not sure if that's important. I think important is we had 87 of these, we had 32 of these, and we had 5 of these, and we had 7 of these. And I'm assuming this stuff's all in a database somewhere, so hopefully somehow, I think this is summary information. Sure. I think for what our group, I think. I mean, does that make sense to folks?
It does, but I think what day it happens on does matter. I think if we have like the most common time of someone's taking your car is Friday, Saturday, or whatever, then that's what we build a campaign around.
Well,
To say, what day of the week do you think is more likely?
Well, and so then add to the summarization by the day of the week.
Right.
But the fact it happened at this address on this accident happened on this corner, that's nice to know. But for our purpose, we don't really.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I just feel like if there's if there's a neighborhood of the city that is more common. If I knew, for example, that like this neighborhood on this day had more like that was the highest rate of people stealing from cars.
Right.
And I'm sure that goes into all sorts of patrol statistics and science anyway. But I mean, I feel like we could still target and talk to people and say, okay, what neighborhood are you from?
Right.
Did you know like your neighborhood has this percentage higher? Whatever. I don't know.
Well, that's a good point. It depends on what are we going to do. Are we going to hit the individual neighborhood? Or are we just looking more from a city of Germantown perspective?
That's true.
What's our mission?
I think it would serve the community better if we just talked about the city of Germantown.
Okay.
'Cause otherwise, a lot of people are going to tune out if it's not their neighborhood.
Well,
Are there brochures available on locking your car? Did y'all have access to that we could give away at the
That's what I was getting to.
events?
Yeah.
Is that available?
We have some brochures about street crime and about, that gives like check-off marks about what to do and stuff like that. Yeah, we do have some stuff that we can give away.
As well as drug take-back in the fall. And we've got 3 or 4 different things. I would like to see us come up with a theme and just, or a logo or what words I want. I don't know. I don't know what it would take, but
You're talking about for the festival?
for the city.
Oh.
Beginning of the festival, because that's the first big event.
but that's the problem about drug takeouts. Again, we're there in front of people. They're going, hey, give us a drug. Oh, by the way, here's some information for you. In fact, we have a chance to be face to face with someone. So I think it's an opportunity to give information as far as, here's over the last year, here's what we've had, here's the breakout has been, or whatever. But we have an opportunity more with that person to be able to exchange information. And we're right in front of them.
Come up with a key ring or a sticker or something that we could hand to them with a new logo or something on it.
I know in the past we've been able to put out fire safety messages in the city's water bill. That may still be available, but that's something that you could get a message to every household and business to lock the door if they pay their water bill. That's just an option that might be out there. We've done it in the past. I don't know if they still use the same type system where we can put that message out there. But that's something to look into.
John, go ahead and say it.
Lock it or lose it.
Why can't you put a logo like that on a keychain?
Huh?
A keychain.
Yeah.
Which keychain means keys for your cars. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
Throwing ideas out there and out to the citizens.
I talked about, the Facebook page, like for Germantown Public Safety Education Committee. I think so that we can compile all the information. Facebook page, we don't have that. Do we have that in Blanchard? Like, I know for Education Commission, all the information goes there. But it's good to have, I know city has to set it up. We can't do it. So, but we can, put the information there.
The keychain, the lock it or lose it, also could go for your home. I mean, everybody has a key to their door. most everybody. Have it shaped like a key, maybe, or a lock. A lock, yeah.
I thought those cheap little TSA locks that you can put on your suitcases, I don't know what kind of budget we have for this project, but
Yeah.
if we bought 500 of those cheap little locks, here's a lock. The reason we give you a lock is people don't lock their cars and their houses in Germantown, and 47 people got broken into last week or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a thought. Budget, time,
Budget, I don't
point of
know.
contact.
I don't know, budget.
We've still got plenty of money.
I think most of these crimes are not breaking the glass out, but just opening the door.
Convenience.
They just go through the neighborhood and they just start
Try.
pulling doors
Whatever is
until they
easy.
find one that's open, and then they go through, and it's like I said, it's a crime of opportunity. You know, most of them, especially in the neighborhoods, very rarely do they break glass because they know somebody's going to hear it.
English, we have a Facebook page, and I put that report in for our neighborhood. That's the reason I want to see if there's anything else. For the month of June, we didn't have but one crime in our neighborhood, and I told them, I said, find some wood, knock on it, but we have a pretty safe
Yeah.
neighborhood here, and the biggest thing was unlocked doors on cars. Lock it. You know, lock your door. That's all you got to do.
Make it hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they go through, say, a code, and they don't get anything, everybody's cars are locked, and there's motion lights and all that, they're probably not going to come back. You know, they're going to go, I never get anything there, I'm going over here. You know, where the opportunities are better, where they do find the doors unlocked and stuff, so.
Is there budget money for something like we're talking about?
Yeah, we would have to, you know, do some research on the cost of the different items and then set a budget for it.
Okay, I would like to move that we, help me, that we take on a project to inform the public by having something to present to them in regard to locking their homes and cars. Make sense?
To reinforce the idea of
To reinforce, that's
lock it
it.
or lose it. Yeah.
Lock it or lose it, and I like the lock it or lose it, that's good. It's true.
How much you want for that phrase?
Okay. Those in favor, as it making a formal motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Nay? So moved. So, you can do the research.
Yeah, because we do have some pricing on some of the things that we have, like the keychains and all that we can pull from. And
So we're going to put it at the Germantown Festival.
One of their keychains on
Yeah.
their car.
Are we going to have some theme?
Keys.
This year, what's going to be the theme for the...
I was going to bring that up
Okay.
under
You're talking
new
about something
business.
like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of comes under new business.
Okay.
Comes under new business.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay. Moving on, fire report.
A lot of stuff happened in June. We provided EMS fire coverage for the horse show. Assistant Chief Beeman and Nick Godwin with the police department, they've been providing active shooter training in a lot of the schools and other things. They did presentations at Faith Presbyterian Church and Daybreak School this month. Fire department members, including me, participated in a swift water rescue exercise with the Coast Guard on Mud Island. Chief Selberg presented the Citizens Lifesaving Award at the BMA to Vehicle Maintenance Technician Jack Lewis. He just happened to be at Piccadilly when somebody was choking, was able to do the helmet maneuver on him. I think we talked about that at one of the previous meetings. Chief Saunders attended a Technical Rescue Special Ops Committee meeting in Franklin. The last troop and the fire inspector, and then I think our fire records coordinator did presentations at Safety City. Chief Dwyer attended a NFPA conference in Las Vegas. I don't know why he would let me go on that.
There's a little grin on his face.
Maybe I'll get to go next year, but it'll probably be in Memphis. Several of the staff members and fire department members attended the Scholarship Fund concert at GPAC. And then on Saturday the 23rd, a wind event came through, and there were numerous calls for power lines down and and trees down on houses. I think the count was in the 20s within a couple hour time frame. It did a lot of damage on there. I'm sure y'all are familiar with that. As far as developments go, we still have Watermark Apartments, parking lot, Saddle Creek parking deck, and the Campbell's Clinic expansion under construction. Germantown Presbyterian Church still, Trader Joe's. The out parcel building is starting to go up now. It's going to be up close to Exeter. Thornwood Apartments, the Thornwood mixed use at the corner of Neshoba and Germantown, the Hilton Hotel. You can see it going up now. They're about to start on the 3rd floor of that. New elementary school, the administration building is going behind that. There's a Home Centrics that's going in close to Target out on Forest Hill. Stack's Pancake Kitchen, we've got plans on that. Athleta Store and Comcast stores, those are both going in Saddle Creek and vacant spots in that.
Question, what's going up on Exeter across from Trader Joe's? They've got beams sticking up from the ground right
Oh, close to Exeter?
Yeah.
It's an out parcel building is what it's called right now. I don't know of any tenants right now. We've got plans on this as shell.
It's a new
It's just going to be a building up frontage. I don't know if it's going to be mercantile or restaurants. All we've got is plans for a shell of a building right now. So I don't know what the tenants are, if they have any or not on that. So as far as use and occupancy permits issued for June, McDonald's, which was just a renovation, but they had to pull a new card through Shelby County. Kaizen Realty went in the old bank building on North Street, 7540 North. Y'all probably saw they were doing a lot of new siding and new roof and stuff on that. Old Navy at 7720 Poplar, they're open. And then Take 5 Oil Change out at our western city limits. As far as fires, we had a residential structure fire on Corsica Drive that was caused by a candle. The homeowners were home, smoke alarm started going off. They went to the laundry room where they had a candle lit, and it was on fire. So they were able to contact the fire department pretty quick. They got there and was able to contain it to that one room and never got up into the attic or anything. So luckily they had a smoke alarm that went off on that. And then 7850 Poplar Pike, during the storm event, a homeowner had placed hot ashes in a trash can. He thought they were out, so it was purely accidental. But passing by a fire explorer, one of our high school kids that is in our Explorer program, noticed smoke coming from the trash can, went up to the house, was able to get a garden hose, put the trash can out. But it was right up next to the house, and about 4 or 5 5-gallon gas cans. So if he would have noticed that, it could have gotten real ugly. But as a result of his quick actions, there was no damage done to the residents at all on that. It was just kind of bad timing because that was right in the middle of the storm when everything else was going on too. But that was pretty much it. It was a pretty slow month for fires, but not a slow month for EMS calls. So they ran a whole bunch of those.
Did you say the Take 5 Oil Change was in Germantown?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It is.
It is
just
the
bare.
last building in Germantown.
It is just bare.
Have you been by there since they've been open?
Mm-hmm.
Have
Have you seen the line of traffic that lines up down Poplar?
Yeah, that's over.
if they were offering free oil changes for the first week.
Is that what it was?
And I think
God, I
they were
hope
taking
so.
donations to go to a charity.
People get stuck in that line, next thing you know, they're coming out into the middle lane. I'm like, I'm over in the left-hand lane, like, stay away from them.
Yeah, no, it ended, so.
That 5-minute oil change place that they put in right next to Fountain Square.
I missed that one.
That's awful. So I was like, oh, please don't tell me it's going to be like that all the time.
I don't remember the charity. They were taking donations for a local charity during that first week in lieu of charging people for oil changes. But I want to say it's the Memphis Children's Home, but I'm not positive on that.
That would make more sense.
That's it for the fireside.
Next, Alderman Massey, PMA report.
My report reminded me of something that happened at McDonald's this past weekend. I've had 3 or 4 incidents where I know that a building is burned out as a result of this. People go through the drive-through line and they throw their cigarettes out into the mulch. I drove by it and it was actually smoldering. I think somebody would have eventually put it out. but it was smoldering underneath, and that's what happened. It sits there underneath all the mulch, and it gets hotter and hotter, and eventually it becomes a fire. It burns down the building. I know three or four restaurants that have burned down that place. You'd be surprised how many restaurant fires, if it's not a fan, ends up in somebody throwing a cigarette out in the mulch.
There's actually a code requirement that requires vegetation to be a certain amount of feet away from a commercial building too. So it's addressed in the fire code, but
Well, they went up there.
like you said, it happens more than you think.
One thing I was thinking about the keychain and what you could do as far as incorporating something to give out to something. When you mentioned something about the keychain, give it to people. If you're going to do that, maybe you put our emergency number on there, the cell phone, just some kind of neat little gimmick like that. The other thing is, if you really want to start a campaign, I think it costs somewhere around $6,000 to send out mailers. You might do a mailer that includes lock your cars up and the drug take back at the same time, although they're not coordinated at the same dates. Maybe still people would put that on their calendars. And like I said, you could get budget. Maybe we talk to PR folks and ask them what they recommend from a campaign standpoint, if that's something that the commission really wants to pursue. Because there are people that could come up with a campaign for us and do the brochures or the mailers, whatever the commission members choose to do. And I also want to thank everybody for working Safety City. You put in a lot of time. I heard some really good things each day about what was going on, so thank you. I know the kids have had a wonderful time, and I think some of the adults had a wonderful time this year, so that's a really positive thing. So thanks to everyone. As far as the BMA report, we had the third and final reading of the budget. It passed. The state determined the tax neutral rate after reappraisal was 2 cents less than estimated for FY18, so the tax rate going into FY19 will actually be 2 cents lower. There's been a request to allow more apartments to be built in the Western Gateway. They're at Kirby and Poplar, basically. The board's already approved the $2 million sewer upgrade to support the density. Money has been budgeted for improvements at the shooting range in the police department. And I think we budgeted for the fire truck in FY19. Or is it?
I do believe one of the, I think engine 93, this one is due to be replaced.
Yeah, I think we're going to take it out of service. No, we're going to leave it in. So we're going to leave one of the fire engines in, and we're going to replace it. And I think it's around $800,000 to replace that fire engine. So that's something that we're doing with fire. We've got the shooting range and that I mentioned, and that's just downstairs. I don't know if everybody knows we have a shooting range downstairs. And I want to read an email that a citizen wrote to the board, and really it was to Chief Hall, but it was about, they was thanking them for responding to an incident at their house. So it just said, Chief Hall, I wanted to write to express my gratitude to you and your department. Last night there was an incident that resulted in 3 suspects being arrested in my backyard. These suspects were arrested less than 20 feet outside the window where my twin boys were sleeping. I was on the phone with dispatchers the whole time, and they did a great job conveying information and showed concern for both my family and the officers involved. You should be proud of the teamwork and professionalism they demonstrated while handling this situation. I have the utmost respect for GPD and am proud of the great men and women that keep Germantown safe. And I am too, so thank y'all for everything that you do. And I just wanted y'all to hear something from one of our residents. They responded, actually called the folks, and one of them had a firearm in his backpack. So one thing I would take away is if you have parents in the area that see people outside rummaging through the car, tell them not to go outside and confront them, because we've been very fortunate so far that none of our residents have been hurt seriously confronting these folks, but some of them are very dangerous, and you don't want someone going out and confronting them and getting hurt if they don't have some kind of training dealing with these situations. And at the end of the day, it's just property. It's better to let the police respond.
I would agree.
Thank you.
May I comment on the fire department? FYI, everybody, if you do a lot of sanding in your house, like removing the popcorn ceilings or work, it sets off your smoke detector.
Oh, really?
I know, it happened.
Personally, right?
Yeah, I wasn't home, and the poor workman was just terrified when all this came to the house.
Oh, well.
So, just FYI.
How was the response time?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Did they finish the job?
Yeah, they went, we took it down. It's no longer up until they finish their work.
I can also tell you that one of the things that apparently I was unaware is a common thing. If you have children at home and they want to make macaroni and cheese with those little microwavable things, they forget to put water in it.
My son did that.
I had no idea it was that common.
I was sitting on the couch and I started smelling the paper burning smell. And I went to the kitchen, there's smoke just rolling out of the microwave.
Well, y'all made a call to a friend of mine's house this weekend that son did that, and I was like,
My first move was to get the microwave popcorn, or the macaroni and cheese, throw it in the sink, put water on it, and then I ran to the garage to get a fan and put it on the smoke alarm so that the fire department wouldn't come. I didn't want to get embarrassed.
well, apparently that smell is next to impossible to get out of your microwave or your house, and so just I had no idea it was that common not to put water in there, but apparently there was like all these people that came up and said, "Oh, my son did that." Interesting was it was mostly boys that did that. Girl, I thought, wonder what that's all about.
Yeah, read the directions.
Yeah.
The lady in the international paper was doing ramen noodles and didn't put any water in them. And I was on the opposite end of the hall, and I started smelling something, and my nose was taking me right down to that kitchen. And she had pulled it out of the microwave and had it in the sink, was running water over it. And I'm like, Bessie. And she goes, my mom always makes it for me. I didn't know you had to put water in it. I'm like,
They don't read the instructions? No, just...
that was, oh God, it stunk so bad. It takes
nothing
it 4 or 5 days for it to get out of that, off that floor. It was awful.
Lady sitting over there.
We have a guest. Angie, did you?
Oh, no, I didn't get it. Would you like to introduce yourself? Your guest? She's like, what?
A guest of somebody.
Yes. I'm Christina Garner.
Okay.
She's doing what?
She's just here auditing. It's an open meeting to the public.
Glad to have you.
Okay. Next is old business, and there's still an open item on old business. It was tabled back May 7th, and as far as reviewing the minutes, there was a full discussion, and we finally got to the point where we had to vote on it, and the vote was tabled for the next meeting. So at this time, I'll read the motion. There was a motion on requesting a new alderman liaison. That's all I have in the minutes. All we're doing is requesting the BMA that we provide, and this is my interpretation, is that they provide a different liaison to us. That's all we're going to vote on. They don't have to act on it, but it's just that. So those in favor?
Point of order, John. I think that the motion was actually to have the discussion on whether or not to replace the alderman. I would appreciate it if everybody had the discussion, no argument, just discuss whether or not this is the right thing to do. Let me enter my comments, participate in the deliberations, and then if at the end of the deliberations everyone still wants to vote to replace the alderman liaison, you can do that. I'd like to raise a second point of order. At the last meeting, the commission was advised that the only action you can take is to replace the alderman. That's not true. You can vote to replace anyone. Your vote is just your expression of your opinion. You could vote to replace the chair, for example. I could have made motions at the BMA meeting to replace the chair. I don't particularly want to do that. I want to keep the group together as it is and just find a way to work through this. But the point of order is to correct that so that everyone understands that they were told that the only action they can take is to vote to replace or not to replace the alderman. That's not true. They don't have to vote to replace anyone. They can vote to replace someone, or they can vote to replace the chair. So there are different options. So I would just ask that we have the discussion, friendly discussion, and then proceed from there with the vote.
So, those in favor of opening up the discussion again, based on the point of order that Alderman Massey presented, those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no.
In fairness, Alderman, I feel like we had that discussion. I don't think there's anything. I think at this point we needed to move to the vote and put it to bed, or I don't think there's anything to be learned from additional discussion. So I vote no, not to reopen.
I'm going to vote yes to reopen. Because nobody voted, so
Right.
I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote yes to reopen the discussion. So there's 1-1.
Okay, you brought up the motion, Mr. Devine brought it up, so I'm going to indicate that we'll open the discussion again and limit it to 10 minutes. Is that reasonable to the group? 10 minutes? And then we'll take a vote after that. Is that reasonable?
I think that's fine. Would you all mind allowing me to read some comments into the record? It's important to keep in perspective that in 2016 I was elected by approximately 10,000 Germantown residents who chose me to represent their voice at City Hall. So if you vote to remove me as Alderman Liaison and silence my voice on this commission, you're also voting to silence the voice of 10,000 of your friends and neighbors. Members of the City Commission are allowed to vote to replace the Alderman Liaison each time a chairman disagrees with the viewpoints expressed by the Alderman Liaison. The commissions will only become more partisan as aldermen seek to stack boards with their friends and allies so no one disagrees with the alderman. This will result in more cronyism and less diversity on our city commissions. The VMA unanimously appointed me to serve as an alderman liaison to the Public Safety Education Commission. And I personally selected each of you, including the chair, to serve on the commission knowing that most of you are longtime supporters of the mayor. I selected each of you knowing that you would likely have viewpoints different from my own, and those differences might occasionally result in disagreements. But I was optimistic that our system of government would lead to compromise that would result in common solutions for the betterment of our community. I am optimistic that we can still accomplish our common goal of making our community better by using our different experiences and opinions to improve public safety education. In government, the solution for resolving disagreements is not to demand the removal of those with different viewpoints, but to work toward a better understanding of why the differences exist and determine if either side might be made stronger by adopting some of the ideas expressed by those with whom we might disagree. The record shows that I made very valid statements about public safety education, and the chair used his position to misconstrue those statements to create a contrived political controversy, which he asked you to memorialize in the public record, which can then be used by my opponents and smear campaigns against me in the future, particularly since the public record was destroyed and manipulated to leave out information that was favorable to me and unfavorable to the chair and mayor. There is a means for me to replace the chair, but I choose not to trigger the process for replacing the chair at this time because I still have hope to work through our differences. If the chair chooses to resign, I will accept his resignation and quickly have him replaced with someone who will be an unbiased chair, who will respect all viewpoints and lead the commission in a positive direction. This contrived political controversy should be rejected and put to rest, which can be accomplished by a vote to postpone this discussion indefinitely. This time, I make a motion to postpone this vote indefinitely.
Can I make a request that I get a copy of that, because I can't write it all?
Absolutely. This is your comment.
Thank you. Yeah.
There's a secondary motion to postpone the primary motion to postpone it indefinitely. So we're going to be voting on the secondary motion that Alderman Massey made. That we, yes.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Not to detract from Alderman Massey's intent here. I don't believe it's procedurally correct that he make a motion. He's our Alderman liaison, not a member of the commission. Am I out of order there? Am I wrong on that case? I am wrong?
I think you're right.
I am right. Okay, I've got the floor. Let me just say two things. I want to keep it brief in consideration of everyone's time. First of all, I see value in postponing or continuing the discussion because we've already had substantial airing of the various viewpoints between our Alderman liaison, between Chairman Gabriel, and amongst the members of this group. And I tend to agree with both Chairman Gabriel and Alderman Massey that the step of formally requesting any member's dismissal or removal from the commission is dramatic, to say the least. And I would hope that we could continue through our appointed terms with everyone in their positions effectively. I would hope that. And so I think rather than say, let's not take any action at all at this point, I think postponing the discussion, in my opinion, is something I could vote for. So that's my 2 cents for this motion. So the first thing I said is, I'm going to make the motion that Alderman Massey cannot make, because I don't believe it's appropriate for him to make it. I do move that we at least talk about postponing the discussion. And then I've said my piece about how I feel for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Is that your motion?
My motion, the motion is what he just said, to postpone the discussion.
I second.
But it's not appropriate for him to do it, just procedurally.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay. Okay. So next would be, I don't have it, it's basically Alderman Massey saying that he has the right to make a motion. He's a liaison, but it's not clear if he's a voting member or a member of the committee.
I can withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And you can recognize Mr. Devine's motion. At that point, that will carry. And then it's postponed until the end of our terms. So I withdraw my motion.
You withdraw yours. Do you want to modify yours? I mean, we've approved it so far till the end of the term. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yes, the motion I made is to postpone the discussion. So
All right.
we're not taking a vote on taking action.
Okay, just a discussion.
Yeah,
Are you going to put a time frame on that?
through the end of the term.
Through the end of the
So what I
term.
consider is I don't want to ask for a vote until some new development occurs. The discussion is open through the end of the term. Because I don't think it's appropriate to take dramatic action when I believe that we've found ways to discuss things instead.
So what happens if we have another heated discussion like I witnessed the first couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, so and
I don't want to be in here when that goes on again. I'll walk
so
out.
let me say that. So that's why I'm in favor of the vote, and I would personally, I'm not saying I would not vote to remove Alderman Massey, but we need to put the idea to bed. It needs to in one way or the other, so there's not this tension of an ongoing. There is either we make the decision or we don't make the decision. And it's not. I would not saying that I want to make any sort of drastic changes, but there have been heated discussions that has interfered with the purpose and the mission of this commission, and that's where I'm concerned. It's not really a personal dispute between Alderman or the chair, whether what was contrived, whether I disagree or don't disagree with that. What I do set my point is that there has been a disruption to this commission. I find that to be concerning, and if you want to make a motion to replace the commissioner, the chair, excuse me, then that's fine. And that's one way to see an end to this disruption. Either way, there needs to be an end to the disruption, and that's why I want to move forward with at least like a decision on this one.
Let me tell you why I would make a motion to this body. You're placing the commission members into an uncomfortable political position, okay? And so I would never come to the commission members and say, I need you to vote so that I can go to the BMA and vote Chairman Gabriel out. That's interjecting you into a political agenda, okay? So I would go to the BMA and I would have to make a motion and say, Here's where the rules that I think have been broken. Here's why I think either a certain member or the chairman should be removed. I personally don't want to do that because I think it sends a bad sign to other commissions that if you ever cross an alternate, you're going to get removed from a commission. So I'd prefer not to take that route. Now, what you're doing with the motion to postpone indefinitely is basically saying as a commission, we're tired of this. We don't want it brought back up. If you want to raise it with the BMA, that's fine. You go to the BMA, and if the BMA makes the decision to support the chair and the BMA, the 3 aldermen, agree that I should be removed, then they'll take that. But this removes the commission members from the middle of a personality conflict.
But is Chairman Gabriel is permitted to go to the BMA?
Absolutely.
And make such a motion that...
Absolutely. I appointed the chairman. If the chairman says he doesn't disagree, that he and I can't get along, then it's the responsibility of the BMA to determine whether he gets replaced or I get replaced. And it can go either way. But the procedures at that point become more clear. And so there are rules that we have to follow when it comes to presenting information to the public and to one another. And so there's a little bit more due process that's provided on both sides, if that's what's going to occur. But I can tell you, if it's dropped, I have no intention of asking the chair to be removed, because again, I think it's bad for every single commission in our city. I think it sends a bad signal to anyone who serves on the commission. I think it has the potential to chill speech and to chill the discussions that are so important to us.
Are you suggesting that we vote on that tonight?
Well, the motion is carried to postpone it indefinitely, but I was in favor of voting tonight.
I came on this commission to do a service
We'll
for the...
open it up to discussion. And the members obviously want to discuss it. So let's open it up to discussion. Is that fine? Okay. Go ahead.
And I came on this to do a service and to lend my whatever knowledge I have about public safety. I didn't come here to listen to people argue. We're here for one thing, and that's to serve the people of Germantown. And we have got to work together, all of us have got to work together and do what is right. If not, I'm not coming back. I can tell you that right now. It's tonight on the first go around, we've done what we're supposed to do.
So that's exactly my point, is that I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying. Like, we're here for a mission, and it feels like this conflict has been disruptive to that mission. And, you know, as I understand, and again, not to us would it be in favor of removing anyone, but I feel like we need to put this behind us. That's my opinion. My intent of pushing for a vote is not to say, let's Rob O'Reilly, let's whip up this commission to a frenzy and ask formally as a commission for aldermen to be removed. It's to say, let's resoundingly put this behind us and say we want to move forward with the actual purpose of this commission. But if we're saying that postponing this indefinitely has the same effect, then so be it. But you know, that just if you want, that's why I vote against postponing. Why I'm in favor of just putting this to bed is because I want to move forward with exactly what you're saying, providing a service to the city and getting back to what our mission and calling is here on this commission.
And I think we can continue to do that
Okay.
once we get this issue resolved and over with.
Any other discussion? Anybody? Go ahead.
Is it possible for the two of you to sit down without us being here? Work these out so that you can come to the next meetings and there's no more of this big conflict?
You know, there's a possibility. The chairman has said that he doesn't want to do that. And so that's the first hurdle to overcome. And whatever you decide tonight, the next question will be, you know, is if I stay, you know, will the chairman be willing to stay? And there's a possibility that he may very well determine that he's unwilling to continue serving with me. But that still resolves the problem. And that's the chairman's decision to make. I would prefer that he stay. I think he has value to offer to the commission. Like I said, I'm the one that selected him for our chair. I stand by my selection. I just think that we should work through these issues and get beyond. If there's a possibility for us to sit down and discuss this without violating the Sunshine Act, then I'm absolutely willing to do that. If it needs to be done in front of the commission, I'm also willing to do that. But, you know, that's really going to be a decision for the chairman tonight.
If I may, I brought this up in May, I think, at the meeting. I asked the two of them, is there any way y'all can sit down and resolve this issue? Because it is distracting me from the work that I want to do here. And did y'all meet?
Absolutely.
No. Okay.
Answer was no.
You have two motions on the floor, don't you?
I know. I got it clear.
At least two.
Do you want to continue with your motion? Oh, Terry, yeah, we've got to clear yours first before we get back to Mark.
So I haven't made a motion, right? So the motion was, where we are voting tonight, and I think there's no clear majority to that motion.
So
the motion
it did not pass.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're back to Mark's. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mark's.
What I have is that your motion did not pass and your motion did pass.
It was the tabled motion.
It was a table.
Right, so it wasn't my motion.
Right, but
correct.
Mark's motion did pass.
That's right.
With one abstain being you, saying that you did not agree with it.
Not abstain, yeah.
Yeah.
Specific name, yeah.
That's okay.
So the motion to table this
is tabled
indefinitely has been passed.
So we're not going to bring this up anymore?
Hey, we're not. I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm not.
Is everybody
The
happy
discussion
with that?
point, though, it's when we say it's not, but if the chairman is to continue on, there's nothing to say that the chair won't bring a motion to bring the vote back to it.
Any member of this committee can make a motion,
Right.
but it has to be approved, discussed and approved through the proper
Right,
process.
Just to your point, right?
Yes.
Like, is
Right.
it put to bed forever? The answer is no, because we're postponing it indefinitely. We're not having the vote.
As far as I'm concerned, it's put the
There are actually procedural motions you can make if
Yeah.
it's brought back up again to stop for good. And you just, a member of the commission will just have to do that. But I don't think with the vote tonight that will be done again.
Yeah. I've been reading all these Robert's Rules of Order, so yeah. Yeah, there's ways to stop
Where
things.
is Mr. Roberts?
Uh,
Need him.
Somebody probably did something with him after he wrote all that stuff. Okay, so
They shot him.
moving on
Rewritten his book.
to new business.
I do have a question, though.
Oh, yes.
We are recording these minutes for the purpose of being able to translate those into words for our meeting minutes, correct? That's the purpose of our recording here, right?
Yeah, it's for me, when I'm doing my minutes, if I'm not clear, if I got something right, I can go back and listen to it and make sure I got it correct on the minutes. And then once the minutes are approved at the next meeting, then those minutes get deleted once what I wrote is approved as being correct.
Is this recording available to anyone who wants to ask for it?
Yes.
Yes, up until the date that they are reported, written into the minutes, they will be available.
To any citizen who wants to take it?
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
I believe the administrative secretary, once we approve the minutes in this committee, then she deletes the recording.
But
Right.
until they're approved,
Right.
so one can say, I want to have a copy of the recording of that meeting.
You can get a copy of the recording.
Right.
They put it on a thumb drive. If it's short enough, they can email it to you. But generally, it's just put on a thumb drive. And you give it to you. I think it's $5.
And that can be used for, well, I know where it's already been used for, but what is the purpose of the recording, someone wanting that?
The recording creates a record for review for approximately 30 days. So that is the public record, but then the minutes only require a summarized version of that larger public record. And then the written minutes are required to record all of the actions taken. The actions taken would be things like motions, points of order, And there's other different actions like that that generally require some kind of vote. And so those will all be actually transcribed into the written minutes and available for the public to see in written form.
Should there be other recording being done in this room during this meeting?
Yes, it's a public meeting, and so any one member or any member of the public can come in and record the meetings. They can, even if they wanted to, they could come in and video the meetings. So I understand the question, I understand the concern, but yes, it's absolutely ethical and legal for any member of the public or any member of our commission to record it. The only thing that I would ask is if somebody is going to record one of our meetings, you just let everybody know, whether that's by putting the recorder down on the table. But just out of courtesy. You don't have to do that, but it's just kind of a courtesy thing. It builds trust among our members.
I think we're being recorded now.
I think we are too. And thank you for clarifying, because that actually answered a lot of my questions and directed my future communications. Thank you.
We received all those notices at the beginning of the year, and it's a sunshine ruling, and it's open to the public. And I believe even under that ruling, we can all put on Facebook without any question about it.
Please do.
It's open to the public. So as you serve as a committee member, you've got to make sure you're okay with that. New business. There was some recommendation. I know for the festival, we were going to do the keychain and look for something unique on a keychain and do that. And then probably come up with a theme for the festival. I think John had a good one. Lock it or lose it. But if we can, maybe the next meeting, come up with some themes for that. I know looking at the police reports, even though they're not summarized, I can scan data real fast. It's unlocked cars, things being lost from cars and other things from the police reports. But maybe we can find something, the fire reports, I know, bathroom fans, things like that. I don't know what's high on your list, but maybe, yes.
For the lock it or lose it, could we just publish the number of car break-ins? Statistics for the year. How many cars were left unlocked or stuff were stolen out of them?
I think that'd be good to have, to be able to have that.
Just one number. So you remember that's a big number. 200, 500, whatever it was.
Can you obtain that, Angie?
I'd have to go to investigations and see if they're able to break down how many were unlocked and how many were locked. And I'm not sure how if they have that capability or if they would have to go through and do it by hand.
That part I don't think would really concern me. It's just the fact that they're leaving items in the car that can be seen. And whether they break in or just open the door, you got a theft from an automobile there.
I think it would be interesting if at the fair we walk through the parking lot and I'm serious, just look at it. Don't touch them.
Just try.
Maybe put something under their windshield wiper,
Okay, so for new business for next month,
John,
everybody put their yes.
When is the festival?
Yes.
It's Labor Day weekend. I know I'm going to be in town all weekend.
You have the date?
I don't have the exact date. I'll email that to everybody.
No, it's the weekend after Labor Day.
Weekend after Labor Day. I'll have to.
So it's going to be
Have to look.
We'll get that date out to everybody because we need all the help we can in that booth. But this year I'll be in town, so I'll work through how many rainstorms I have to get through the weekend. And we'll talk about that topic, and I'm going to meet with the fire department. I'll try to do that in the next 30 days, see what brochures you have. I got to ask Joe, I don't know if you're going to be doing that with me or if Jody's still going to do that with me.
Last year we swapped days, so if he worked Saturday, I was there Sunday, or vice versa. So.
He's got them stored at the new station in that one trailer, but we went through to see the count. From Betty's input, I know we're going to need a lot more from what we had last year, so I've got records of the previous year, so I'm going to add another 250, 300 to that. And I'll meet with Lieutenant McGee, because we may have to get over and find some totes and stuff where we have the brochures and coloring books. and go through there and get stuff ordered for the fair, and probably double that again. Anything else?
Something I just thought of, new business. We have graciously been granted permission to move the public safety education trailer and our command trailer over to Station 4 at the police department. So it'll be so much easier to access to get in and out when we need to go look for things, or if you needed to go look for things. It's locked, of course. We'd have to be there to give you the lock. But getting them in and out of that area over there at the Lester building is really tough. And the more crowded it becomes, the harder it gets. So the fire department has said that we can park it over there on their lot where they have all their other trailers. So
Which station?
Station 4 at Forest Hill.
Forest Hill.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be working toward that end of getting them moved over there and parked in a designated spot. So.
Close to my house.
Any other new business? Need a motion for adjournment? Second? Adjourn.
Okay, so you're going to go back to the cars.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm talking
Who
about.
seconded that? Who seconded that? You did? All right.
Get into the police station.
There's a race. Second to first.
I know I heard like three voices at once. I was
second,
like,
third.
huh?
Carried.
How did she get into the police station?
Yeah, I'm gonna put one on my daughter.
I don't know. She could have come through just by the
754-722. That's not the. That's
or the door.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You know, we had the door propped.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know who she is.
That's not the emergency. That's not.
That's not emergency.
That's Star 54.
Oh, really?
So.
No.
Star 54 is the other one if you can